Hello, everybody. My name's Grady Boyce, and today I'm doing my presentation on the case study of how the iPhone is made. This is talking about Apple's global production system. So first off, I'm going to give a little intro. Apple is the world's largest technology company in the world. They make many different products, whether it's MacBooks, which is their computers, or their laptops, and then Macs themselves, which is their just desktops and computers. They make their Apple Watches. They make headphones, whether it's AirPods or actual over-ear headphones like the AirPod Maxes. Um, they make iPads, which is their tablet, and then they also make iPhones, which is the most popular ones that they sell and actually the focus for today's case. They're known for their very simplistic designs and attention to detail, and their tight integration between their hardware and software. Here's a brief little history of Apple. They were founded by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne on April 1st, April Fool's, 1976. Um, in 1984, though, is when Apple launched the Macintosh, which is their first quote unquote computer, and it revolutionized personal computing. Steve Jobs, which is the most popular man in Apple's history, took over as interim CEO in 1997, and he brought significant changes to the company. Um, Apple introduced iconic products like the iMac, the iPod, iTunes, and later the most important, the iPhone, which revolutionized the music industry and mobile technology. In 2018, Apple became the first publicly traded company to reach a market capitalization of $1 trillion. The company continues to release new iterations of its products today. Here's a couple fun facts that I thought I would include about Apple before we get into the case. Apple Computer Inc. was famously started in a garage. If you didn't know that, it's pretty cool. The iconic Apple logo featuring a bitten apple is said to have been inspired by a real apple. The flagship store on Fifth Avenue in New York City is open 24/7 and has a glass cube entrance made of 15 huge glass panels, which is what you can see in the picture there in the top right. Thought it was a really cool little piece of architecture. Apple's virtual assistant Siri is known for her witty responses. If you ask Siri to divide 0 by 0, she responds with a clever and humorous answer that has become really popular. Apple is committed to sustainability and has made significant efforts to reduce its environmental impact. The company runs its data centers on 100% renewable energy, and I didn't include this, but they're also planning on making all of their products 100% recyclable. So, what is the case? This case from the book on page 632 was all about Apple's switch from being an all American made products and going more to a foreign manufacturing. It talks about Apple's benefits and other keys to their decision. It also talks about some negative impacts as well. So, American made. In the earlier days of Apple, the products were made here in America. We see Steve Jobs said this quote in 1983. He said the word, a machine that was made in America, talking about his products, and he was very proud of these products being made here in America. Apple was still American made up until the early 2000s in their headquarters at Elk Grove, California. Steve Jobs had often said that he was proud of Apple's manufacturing plants that he had in California as he was of the devices themselves. The switch to foreign manufacturing. By 2004, Apple had largely turned to foreign manufacturing. It reached the foreign manufacturing peak with the iPhone in 2007, which I mentioned earlier. The iPhone was going to be really important today. 90% of the iPhone is manufactured abroad. However, a large portion of activities were kept here in the US, like product design, software engineering, and marketing. But here's where the big difference is. There's 80,000 workers in the US compared to the 1.5 million that are outside the US. The main reason for the major switch being labor costs, production speed, and ease of access to engineers. And many of these factories that Apple uses for the components for the iPhone and all of their other products are close to the Foxconn, which is their subcontractor. assembly plant in China. So here's the concept that I chose for the concept relations. It's called outsourcing. Uh, Outsourcing is the practice of delegating certain tasks, functions, or processes of a business to an external third party company or individual. Instead of handling these activities in house, a company hires external resources to perform the tasks on their behalf. And the chapter relation was chapter 17, where it talks about global production and supply chain management. This term outsourcing is mentioned in this chapter, and this is where I found it. And this outsourcing enables Apple to have better cost efficiency, specialized expertise, scalability, and flexibility, and then also a global supply chain, which is one of the really important ones because it helps reduce the supply chain risks, ensures the product availability, and enhances the efficiency in sourcing components and materials for Apple. So, to simplify outsourcing, it's producing outside of your country's borders, i.e., what this entire thing was about for Apple. Here's the discussion questions. If you guys want to discuss amongst yourselves, I'm going to give you a couple seconds before I move on. You can pause this video and discuss a little bit. Thank you so much for listening to me rant on about this cool case study that I read about. You guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much.